Texas, the land of immensity, where everything is bigger, wilder, truer. This is the story of 4 different worlds. The humid forests of the east, the Rocky Mountains of the west, the deserts of the south, and the infinite prairies of the north. A single state that encompasses the entire America. We'll discover prairies that in springtime become oceans of colorful flowers, wild coasts along the Gulf of Mexico, and historic cities where music fills the streets. But Texas is above all freedom. Boundless spaces where the eye gets lost on the horizon. Immense skies that at night fill with stars. Sparkling metropolises full of life. From historic ranches to natural reserves, from ghost towns to national parks, every corner tells a story of pioneers, cowboys, and untamed nature. Welcome to the Lone Star State, where adventure has no limits and every road leads toward infinity. Big Bend National Park. Imagine a place where time seems to have stopped millions of years ago. Big Bend is exactly that. 324,000 hectares of pure Chihuahuan desert, stretching all the way to the Mexican border, where the Rio Grande traces majestic curves between limestone canyons. The park's very name comes from this great bend of the river, and here the desert hides incredible secrets. The Chisos Mountains, which are the only mountains completely enclosed within a national park in America, rise like green islands from the desert. In their rocks hide fossils of the largest pterosaur ever discovered, with a wingspan of 12 meters. At night instead, Big Bend becomes one of the darkest places in America. Zero light pollution means you'll see the Milky Way like you've never seen it before, and the silence is so profound that you'll hear your own heartbeat. And if you're lucky, you might catch the gaze of one of the 150 mountain lions that call this wild corner of Texas home. Palo Duro Canyon. A descent of 240 meters through rock walls that tell 250 million years of history. Palo Duro Canyon is the second largest canyon in America and derives from the Spanish hardwood, precisely because of the junipers that grow here, which have particularly hard and resistant wood and can live for hundreds of years, perfectly adapting to the dry climate. But forget monotonous landscapes, because in this canyon, the rocks are an explosion of fire red, brilliant orange, and golden yellow, colors so intense they seem painted. Moreover, the Texas wind has sculpted extraordinary formations called hoodoos, pillars and spires of rock carved by erosion over the course of millions of years. Every layer of rock is a page in Earth's book, because here once swam ancient mosasaurs when everything was ocean, while dinosaurs strolled along these prehistoric shores. Guadalupe Mountains National Park. At 2,667 meters above sea level, Guadalupe Peak is the highest summit in Texas. But the real magic of this park isn't just the altitude. Rather, it's what you find climbing up. You walk on one of the oldest and best preserved fossil coral reefs on the planet, 250 million years old. Indeed, when these rocks were forming, there was a tropical sea here, teeming with life. El Capitan, the 300-meter rock wall that dominates the landscape, was the wall of this ancient coral reef. McKittrick Canyon, instead, guards a special secret. In autumn, it transforms into a kaleidoscope of red, gold, and orange, with maples and oaks painting the canyon with colors that rival those of New England. This is the Texas you don't expect: wild, ancient, and incredibly beautiful. Hamilton Pool Preserve. Imagine a natural pool that seems straight out of a dream. Hamilton Pool is a hidden gem in the heart of Texas Hill Country, where emerald water reflects limestone walls, 15 meters high. This isn't a normal little lake, but rather a cenote, that is, a collapsed cave that created a perfect pool under a waterfall that falls from above. The magic here is palpable. Prehistoric ferns hang from the humid rocks, while stalactites create a natural ceiling above the water. The place is so fragile that you need a reservation to visit it, because too many human feet could ruin this perfect balance, built over thousands of years. This is definitely the type of place that makes you believe in the magic of nature. Fredericksburg. Welcome to the little Germany of Texas. Fredericksburg catapults you directly into Bavaria, but with cowboys instead of Bavarian costumes. This little town was founded in 1846 by German immigrants who brought with them traditions, architecture, and above all, the passion for beer and sausages. Today, the main streets are a fascinating mix of Victorian houses that alternate with German-style buildings, while Texan barbecue joints coexist with authentic German breweries. But the real surprise? Fredericksburg has become the Texan capital of wine, thanks to the surrounding hills that host dozens of vineyards, which produce excellent wines thanks to the ideal climate. Furthermore, during the local Oktoberfest, the city explodes with music, traditional dances, and rivers of beer. Blanco River. The Blanco River flows through the heart of Texas, but don't let the name white fool you, which derives from Spanish. Indeed, the water here isn't murky or whitish, but crystal clear like glass, so transparent that you can see every pebble on the bottom. This river is also paradise for those seeking adventure, but without too many risks. Its shallow waters are ideal for tubing, that is floating on an inner tube following the current, which is practically a rite of passage for Texans. Along the banks, cypresses create green tunnels that filter sunlight, but the Blanco also has a wild side. And that is, during sudden floods, it can transform into an impetuous torrent. And it's precisely this contrast that makes it fascinating. Texas families know it well. One moment placid like a mirror, the next powerful like a wild horse. Pedernales River. This river carries the Spanish name meaning stony, and you can immediately understand why. The Pedernales sculpts the Texan landscape, creating breathtaking canyons and natural pools framed by light-colored rocks that shine in the sun in contrast with the green of the surrounding woods. This is also the river that raised a president because Lyndon Johnson spent his childhood here, swimming and fishing in these waters. Today you can visit his ranch and see where the 36th American president made the most important decisions, often sitting right on the banks. But returning to the river, the water flows over wide slabs of smooth limestone, creating natural rapids and deep pools, perfect for a refreshing dive. In spring, the banks transform into a carpet of colors, and this also contributes to making it a place where time slows down, and where every curve of the river reveals a new wonder, sculpted by nature over millions of years. Houston. The fourth most populous city in the United States extends into the vastness of eastern Texas. Houston initially prospered as a port center, then transformed into the energy capital with the discovery of oil at Spindletop in 1901. The Museum District hosts 19 cultural institutions in a walkable area, where the Museum of Fine Arts preserves works spanning from Egyptian antiquity to contemporary art. In nearby Herman Park instead, the Japanese garden offers an oasis of tranquility among curved bridges and streams. And you know what strikes you most about this city? Its incredible diversity. Here indeed, over 145 different languages are spoken, and neighborhoods change flavor every few blocks. They often come alive with Tejano music, hip-hop, or country, while food trucks serve tacos and barbecue until dawn. Dallas. Welcome to the city that redefined the American skyline. Indeed, precisely its skyline reveals the story of a city born from oil and transformed into a financial center. Skyscrapers didn't exist here until the 70s, but now they dominate the horizon, with their glass reflecting the Texas sun. Today, among the skyscrapers, residents still remember when this land was full of cowboys and ranches just 100 years ago. But now the city has become so important that it hosts more major companies than many American states combined. During weekends, parks fill with families grilling barbecue, while country and hip-hop music mix in the air. And then there's the Trinity River, which crosses the metropolis, connecting neighborhoods that otherwise would never meet. Austin. It's the capital of Texas, but it's very different from what you'd expect. It defines itself as the live music capital of the world and has a unique and progressive spirit. The city is full of venues where live music is played, but it's also an important center for technology, which attracts innovators from around the world. The city's motto is "Keep Austin Weird," and you can see it in the street art, creative food trucks, and bohemian neighborhoods. At the center of the city is Lady Bird Lake, a green oasis perfect for kayaking or stand-up paddling. A bit further west instead, you'll find Lake Austin, where the characteristic bridges that cross its waters create picturesque scenery, while along the shores, elegant villas and venues with panoramic terraces alternate, offering a privileged view of the sunsets that paint the gentle Texas hills red. San Antonio. The cultural heart of Texas fuses Spanish colonial history, Texan pride, and vibrant Mexican-American culture. The River Walk, a network of walkways along the San Antonio River, is the beating heart of the city, with its restaurants, shops, and tourist boats. At night, the colored lights that illuminate the bridges and trees transform the river into a magical setting where live music and cooking aromas fill the air. The Alamo, symbol of the fight for Texas independence, tells a story of courage and sacrifice. The Spanish missions, instead, a UNESCO heritage site, offer a glimpse into colonial life. Continuing, the Pearl District, which is a former brewery transformed into a trendy neighborhood, exemplifies the city's urban renaissance. With its unique mix of history, culture, and modernity, San Antonio offers an authentic and surprising Texan experience. Fort Worth. If Dallas is the future, Fort Worth is the authentic soul of Texas. Imagine a city where cowboys still walk the streets wearing boots and hats, but they do so alongside brokers in suits and ties. Welcome to Fort Worth, where the soul of the far west still pulses strong in the heart of modern Texas. The Fort Worth Stockyards is where the cowboy myth comes to life. Indeed, here every day at 11:30 and 4 p.m., you can witness the cattle drive, which is a parade of real Texas Longhorns crossing the main street, just like they did 150 years ago. It's a show you won't find anywhere else in the world. Moreover, the city's cultural districts host prestigious historic buildings, like the Tarrant County Courthouse, a majestic courthouse in Romanesque style that dominates downtown with its imposing clock tower, symbol of Texas pioneering heritage. And as the sun sets, historic saloons fill with live country music. Fort Worth is like that, one foot in the past and one in the present, but always with the right boots on. El Paso. Look out from the Franklin Mountains and you'll have a breathtaking view, with 3 countries, 2 states, and 2 time zones meeting in a single panorama. The city of El Paso borders directly with Ciudad Juarez in Mexico and Las Cruces in New Mexico, creating a cultural melting pot unique in the world. Here, the border isn't just a line on the map, but rather a living culture. Over 80% of the population is of Hispanic origin, and walking through downtown, you hear a perfect mix of English and Spanish, which tells 400 years of shared history. But El Paso also surprises for other reasons. Indeed, it's one of the safest cities in America, despite prejudices about borders. And there's also Franklin Mountains State Park, which offers hiking trails with panoramic views of the desert, while the Historic Center tells a story of trade between the United States and Mexico. El Paso is the perfect bridge between 2 worlds, where diversity isn't just tolerated, but celebrated every day. Galveston. Galveston is the Phoenix of Texas. That is a city that was reborn from its own ashes after being completely destroyed. In 1900, the most devastating hurricane in American history swept away this prosperous port city, killing thousands of people. But Galvestonians didn't give up. Today, Galveston is an architectural jewel overlooking the Gulf of Mexico. The Strand District transports you to the Victorian era with its restored historic buildings, while the famous pier extends into the ocean. The beaches, moreover, have a particular beauty, with golden sand meeting clear waters and pelicans and seagulls hanging around the coast. But it's the contrast that makes Galveston special, thanks to refined historic palaces alternating with surf shacks, or elegant gourmet restaurants coexisting with fish and chip stands. It's a city that has learned to build not only seawalls, but also a resilience that you can breathe in the salty air. Corpus Christi. This is a name that promises spirituality, but in reality it's pure marine adrenaline. This seaside city is where Texas meets the Gulf of Mexico, in a spectacular embrace of infinite beaches and turquoise waters. Corpus Christi Bay is a paradise for water sports like kite surfing, windsurfing, and sailing, because here the wind is always perfect, constant, and never too strong. The waterfront winds for kilometers, dotted with swaying palms and fishermen casting their lines toward the horizon. But the real star is the USS Lexington, a World War II aircraft carrier transformed into a floating museum. Going aboard means touching history with your hands, walking where heroes served their country. Finally, at sunset, the sun dives into the Gulf, painting everything gold and red, and this city reveals its true soul. South Padre Island. Welcome to paradise. South Padre Island is the Riviera of Texas. That is, a ribbon of white sand 55 kilometers long, separating the mainland from the Gulf of Mexico. But it's not just a beach. Rather, it's a state of mind. The waters are so warm and clear that swimming feels like floating in a giant turquoise bathtub. During a sea turtle season, moreover, you can witness an ancient spectacle, with mothers coming to lay eggs on the shore, just as their ancestors did millions of years ago. The island anyway has two personalities, because during the day it's the realm of families, with children building sand castles and parents relaxing under multicolored umbrellas. At sunset instead, it transforms into the Texan capital of fun, with beach bars serving frozen margaritas and music mixing with the sound of waves. Port Aransas. Port A, that's what the locals call it, with that affection reserved for places of the heart. This little fishing village on Mustang Island has preserved the authentic soul of coastal Texas, where pickup trucks with kayaks on the roof are more common than cars. Life revolves around fishing, with piers filling with fishermen of every age, from grandfathers teaching grandchildren how to cast their hooks, to tourists discovering the excitement of their first caught fish. But Port Aransas also hides a secret. Indeed, there are some of the most beautiful beaches in Texas, where you can drive directly on the sand by the shore. It's Texan freedom in its pure state, where the ocean meets the sky in an embrace that lasts forever. Buffalo Bayou. In the heart of Houston flows a secret. This is the watercourse that gave birth to the fourth largest city in America. Bayou is a Creole word indicating slow and meandering waterways. A sort of Louisiana river, but here in urban Texas. Indeed, this isn't a normal city river. Buffalo Bayou is a green oasis, flowing between glass and steel skyscrapers, creating a surreal contrast. You can paddle by kayak literally in the center of a metropolis, with herons fishing peacefully, while above you traffic flows fast on the highways. The bayou also has a troubled history because it was born as a commercial route for ships carrying cotton, but today it's reborn as a park where locals jog, fish, and discover that their city has a green soul. Lavon Lake. "20 kilometers northeast of Dallas, Lavon Lake is a body of water that knows how to surprise first-time visitors. This artificial basin of over 8,000 hectares, born in 1953, represents everything that makes modern Texas fascinating: accessible nature, recreation, and that feeling of escaping the city without going too far. Its shores are dotted with well-maintained parks and hiking trails, while the Trinity River waters create bays and inlets perfect for every type of aquatic adventure. Local fishermen will tell you that bass and catfish abound, but Lavon's true treasure is its versatility. From family beaches to equipped campgrounds, from horseback trails to boat ramps, this is where you understand why this lake has become the green lung of one of Texas's most dynamic metropolitan areas. Lake Caddo. Get ready to enter another world. Lake Caddo doesn't even seem like Texas. Rather, it seems like wild Louisiana, transplanted to the eastern border of the state. This is the only large natural lake in Texas, an aquatic labyrinth of about 100 square kilometers, covered by a forest of cypresses that seems straight out of a Tim Burton movie. These trees grow directly from the water, with their roots forming protrusions that emerge from the surface, like prehistoric creatures. Among these green giants, the water is dark like coffee, colored by tannins from falling leaves. It's a unique ecosystem and home to alligators, herons, and over 200 species of birds. Navigating here by canoe means exploring hidden channels and secret lagoons, where silence is broken only by the cry of a heron or the call of a beaver. Lake Possum Kingdom. This gigantic mirror of water was born in the 40s when a dam was built on the Brazos River, creating one of Texas's most spectacular lakes. The lake is famous for Hell's Gate, and while the name sounds ominous, it's not as scary as it suggests. It's simply a narrow passage between two high rocky walls. The waters, moreover, wind for 310 kilometers of jagged coastline, among rocky hills that shine in the sun, while the name derives from old settlements of opossum hunters, which are the only native marsupials of North America. Franklin Mountain State Park. Stop for a moment. Are you really in Texas? The Franklin Mountains seem transported directly from Arizona, with their harsh peaks rising from the desert like castles of ancient stone. These mountains are the northernmost of the chain that crosses Mexico, and are rocky peaks that tell a geological story of even 1 billion years. When you look at these rocks, you're observing some of the oldest formations in North America, older than complex life on Earth. The park is anyway a paradise for those who love serious trekking, with trails that climb steep slopes where cacti of impossible shapes grow, and where the silence of the desert is broken only by the whistle of wind through the rocks. From the highest point, North Franklin Peak, El Paso stretches at your feet toward the Rio Grande. Monahan Sandhills State Park. Welcome to the Texan Sahara. The sand dunes of Monahans extend for thousands of kilometers, creating a landscape so surreal that it seems like you're not on Earth. These formations, however, aren't coastal dunes, because we're hundreds of kilometers from the ocean. But the sand is still fine and golden like that of the most beautiful beaches. The sand indeed comes from very far away and is pure quartz transported by wind from the mountains of New Mexico and deposited here grain by grain until forming these hills. The dunes, moreover, are as if they were alive, because they change shape every day, redesigned by the wind like an artist who's never satisfied with his work. But the most fun part is that you can go sandboarding. Take a board and slide down the dunes as if it were snow. It's an adventure that mixes the excitement of skiing with the magic of the desert under the Texan sky. Texas state capitol. Texans couldn't accept having a government building shorter than the federal one, so they built their state capitol 4 meters taller than Washington's. But this is simply pure Texan spirit. If you can't be the best, at least be the biggest. The pink dome dominates Austin's skyline and is made of granite extracted from local quarries, which gives it that unique color that changes with the light of day. Inside, every detail tells the story of Texas, with frescoes celebrating independence, mosaics representing the 6 flags that have flown over Texan territory, and corridors that recall decisions that change the state's destiny. The surrounding gardens are a museum, with every tree having its story. For example, there's the live oak planted by the Cherokee, the blue bonnets that bloom blue in spring, and monuments honoring Texan heroes. Waco. A city on the Brazos River that has managed to completely reinvent itself. Waco, indeed, was famous for wrong reasons, or rather for tragic events in the 90s that had put it on the map for reasons it preferred to forget. Today, however, it's the Texan capital of design and good living. Cameron Park East offers one of the most beautiful urban parks in Texas, with over 400 hectares of wild nature, crossed by panoramic trails that overlook the river, creating a green lung in the heart of the city. But Waco is also a lively university town, home to Baylor University, where the majestic McLean Stadium dominates the urban landscape with its modern architecture, and where on game days the entire city is painted in green and gold colors. Along the Brazos, moreover, there are bike paths and parks that create a green oasis where students and families gather to enjoy Texan life at the right pace. This place is proof that every city can rewrite its own story. Natural Bridge Caverns. "18 meters underground, a world that seems straight out of a fantasy book awaits you." Natural Bridge Caverns owes its name to the natural limestone bridge that forms the entrance to these caves, which formed drop by drop over millions of years. Water has sculpted these underground cathedrals, where stalactites and stalagmites create like stone forests that even have poetic names. The temperature down here is constant all year, with about 21 degrees, and is natural relief from the Texas summer heat. Moreover, as you walk along the paths, the silence is almost tangible, broken only by the dripping of water, which continues its sculpting work. It's a true journey to the center of the earth, where every step reveals new wonders hidden in the bowels of the rock. Lydia Ann Lighthouse. Only by boat can you reach this solitary guardian of the Gulf of Mexico. The Lydia Ann Lighthouse rises on a rocky islet off Port Aransas and is a white sentinel that for over a century has guided sailors home. Built in 1857, this lighthouse has seen American history pass by. From Confederate ships during the Civil War, through merchant vessels loaded with cotton, to modern yachts sailing for pleasure. Its light has cut through fogs, storms, and moonless nights. It has been a beacon of hope in the darkness of the sea. Cadillac Ranch. Ten Cadillacs buried in the ground, nose down in the middle of nowhere in the Amarillo area. It seems like a vision, instead it's pure art. Cadillac Ranch is the most photographed and shared installation in Texas, a pop icon that transforms the Route 66 journey into a surreal experience. In 1974, a group of hippie artists called Ant Farm convinced an eccentric millionaire to plant these cars in his ranch. The idea was to show the evolution of Cadillac tail fins from 1949 to 1963. Each car represents a different year, buried at the same angle as the Pyramid of Giza. But the brilliant part is that anyone can bring spray cans and decorate the cars. They've been repainted thousands of times, from marriage proposals to love messages to political protests. Everything ends up on these Cadillacs. It's participatory art in its pure state. And anyway, 10 dead cars have become immortal. This, therefore, is Texas. A kaleidoscope of natural and cultural wonders that challenge the imagination. And if you want to explore other fantastic places in America and around the world, choose from our playlist that you'll find here on the right.